You ever hate when they do a title for something and then you realize that the title has nothing to do with the movie or show? That's
Yeah,
how it feels when you watch A Quiet Place Day One.
and that is saying something. I literally have no expectation just going inside, aside from just so this is what it is. This is what the story's gonna be about. Oh, okay, and you subverted my expectations.
Yeah. So A Quiet Place Day One is your prequel movie set in the A Quiet Place film series. It stars Lupita Nyong'o and Joseph Quinn. And then you also got Alex Wolff and Digimon Honsu in the film. It's directed by Michael Sarnowski. It was also written by Michael as well. And the story was by John Krasinski and Michael. So yeah. Um,
Yay!
Essentially the film is, well, as the title says, set in day one, but it really isn't. It's kind of like week one, if
I
you were to
mean,
be honest.
to be honest, I don't even think it's a week one based on just how many things happen. It's like a month at least.
I don't think it's a month.
But yeah, you think about it. So something happened. She got knocked out. The bridges are bombed. Her nurse got killed. She met a guy. There's they planned a mass evacuation. And remember, there's a military in the middle of the streets.
Yeah.
So it's like at least a month.
What was the timeline for the first movie?
Let me see. It's like 100 something days later. But give me a second. Uh, Here's the thing. I just do not like this. I mean, here's the thing. The first movie has a lot of potential. I just think they wasted it. Not in the sense they wasted the premise. It's just they wasted the premise because the characters are stupid.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing is like that's kind of my thing. It's like if Emily Blunt's character was pregnant before the alien invasion, and this is what they need to do post the invasion, like what do they need to do to deal with that? That's like I think that could have improved it a lot, but I think the timeline for her pregnancy is like in a way like it was the baby was conceived during the uh that's
during
why I'm trying to say like
during the
what
during.
what was the timeline of the first
I
movie?
remember I remember at least a year passed. Here's the thing. I've seen the movie several first movie several times already. I remember at least a year or something. But give me a second. Uh, 7 minutes. Uh,
Yeah, it's been about a year. A Quiet Place Day One is set within the first 4 days.
what?
Yeah, this all of this happened in 4 days according to
It's
this movie.
wait, what? They literally have a military in the middle of the street. I mean, the military is destroyed. That can't be happening in 4 days.
That's what I said.
Oh yeah. Oh shit, found it. A Quiet Place Day One starts 472 days after the attack.
Yeah, so okay, so the baby is was made during the yeah. That's what killed the whole thing. The baby was made during the apocalypse. That's really stupid. If the baby was made before the apocalypse, she was still pregnant, and like this is like the aftermath, and you don't obviously you don't want to do an abortion. Fair enough, I get that. But I don't know, like conceiving the baby 400 days, that's like more than a year. So you definitely had enough time to know that this was a stupid idea, and they did it anyway. That's the problem, really. Well, that's one of the problems.
Yeah, that's one of the many problems. I mean, there's also like the waterfall, which everyone talks about already, and just
Yeah,
characters just. Here's the thing: the characters are not as careful as they seems to be. I mean, they try to portray them as careful, but whenever they need tension, they're not careful.
yeah, yeah.
And also the fact that I was like, I don't even remember what's the premise of I mean, what's the plot of the first movie? Like I've seen that a few times, and all I can think of is I guess they just try to live their life, and suddenly the monsters attack once in a while.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I mean, the premise is pretty simple. Like, it's kind of like a day in the life of a family during this apocalypse that happened 400 plus days ago, and they're just kind of going about it. The tension being that Emily Blunt's character is pregnant and she needs to give birth eventually, so they try to prepare for that time when she is going to, give birth. That they're gonna have to set up some sound barriers to keep the monsters away from the farm and all that stuff. So like I get that and I'm kind of fine with that in terms of like I mean I think the reason why a lot of people like A Quiet Place like in terms of the normie perspective is mainly just I think the premise itself is interesting. I think it's like it's like an alien invasion, but this one you have to be quiet in order to survive. I feel like it's unique enough that you don't have to that it's kind of different from other kinds of alien invasion movies. But yeah, I do think when you think about like some of the things that have happened, that kind of like makes things weird. Why that's kind of the other thing too is like there's clearly a lot of attention to detail in terms of like what they do in their activities and all that stuff. So they are like prepared in some case. And there's like like the youngest kid is just out with the robot uh, and all that stuff. They didn't keep an eye on him. He's standing all the way back um, in the opening scene, and that's like I don't know, like parenting 101. You keep the kid in front of you at all times. So I don't know. It's stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's potential, just like, but it just requires every character just act stupid. So it's like, so if anyone just literally think about it, it falls apart. And the other thing is the monster is kind of inconsistent when it comes to how loud they can hear it.
Yeah, yeah. I think like I think this film was kind of the most egregious with that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It was Emily Blunt, so it makes sense. Yeah, that's
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, this movie doesn't have Emily Blunt, so oh well.
yeah. I like Lupita, but like so. But speaking of which, Lupita plays Sam. She is a character who has cancer, and she's going about her day. Her they're basically her hospital. They want all the patients to go on a trip in Manhattan to see the marionette show. So this is uh, you know the calm before the storm, so to speak. And
Uh,
then
yeah,
yeah,
it's
and then while they're in the city, she wants to eat pizza. That's kind of her thing for the rest of the movie.
yeah, literal. Most of the movie literally just her just like, I want pizza. I was like, that. Am I watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Like,
Yeah,
okay, thank you. I know you loved pizza.
Patsy's is really good though. I have had a slice, so I'll give her that.
Yeah,
But yeah, so it's just basically that. Um, I really like the music for the marionette show. That was really nice.
yeah.
But then yeah, then meteors fall from the sky. We see this in the trailer, and that's how day one starts. All the aliens.
Yeah.
They even,
It's
they gave a little bit of a, like they gave a general statistic that in New York City it's like 90 decibels every day, and all that stuff. So yeah, New York is a loud city, and
uh,
somehow within
uh
4 days they figure
but
out that you need to
yeah.
shut up.
Here's the thing. They basically just have the city be entirely calm for most of the movie. So it's like, oh fuck.
Yeah. So like when the aliens are attacking, lots of people are dying, lots of cars and explosions are happening around. Um, Luckily, Sam is not the type that yells, which is, you know, some people handle fear better than others. That's fair. It's just kind of convenient.
Uh,
Um,
and it's, that's just like the overall stuff. It's just
they
and
never
it's
really
like
explain why the aliens fall down, but then again, I guess for humans on that day, you're never really gonna know that answer. It just happens.
yeah. Here's the thing. I don't really care about Sam for most of the movie. It's like because basically before the storm, she's just an asshole. It's like she just insult everyone in the first scene. After that, when something happened, literally media, and she's like, "Oh, I want pizza." I mean,
Yeah,
to
I
be
mean, I didn't really care all that much. Honestly, I felt like once, for me, once Joseph gets into the movie, I think the movie improves a lot. Um, or at least, which is basically the last third of the movie, because yeah, Joseph is not present for 40 minutes of the movie.
oh yeah. I don't know, because the first 40 minutes is just so tedious to just get through.
Yeah, so that's kind of my thing. The first 40 minutes are pretty rough, mainly because like you see how these characters are like, you know, trying to be quiet, all that stuff. Um, you occasionally get stuff like helicopters are going over in the air, like saying everybody needs to be quiet. That's like a mandate. All
uh,
that stuff. Yeah.
it's I was like, wait. I mean, I want to circle back like way before these scenes because there's a lot of stupid even before those. Like
I
for
did.
example, Lupita's character. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. So Lupita's character is never characterized aside from oh she's an asshole. I mean, I
I mean,
get the idea she got the terminal illness and so therefore she got more cynical and she wants pizza because memories she wants to remember but how she treat people is like she just she just treat everyone like shit
yeah,
and
it's New York for you, so
yeah as
I was kind
literal
of fine with that.
but I
Uh,
mean but not to your personal nurse. It's like she didn't when the nurse just like dude I am your friend please go something happened she was like you're not my friend you're my nurse.
yeah, I mean, I guess that's
I mean I guess which is like it's not inherently a bad thing it's like I kind of get your idea but it's like I look at it but I look when I look at the overall movie it just doesn't make you an interesting character it just makes you one note.
yeah, that's why I keep saying like I feel like once Joseph is like somebody to react with, I think that's when everything gets better.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
Honestly, I'm
Uh,
kind of glad that the other character was not the secondary character, because otherwise that would not work at all. Even with that point, it's like that kind of leads into the. I mean, so most of the film is like silent. I think both. Like I think all the films for A Quiet Place does a pretty good job with its sound design. That's not really a complaint on our side, at least. Um, though the inconsistencies of when the sound design comes in is kind of annoying. Like, so like her friend that we talked about, the way he dies is like, so the generator goes off. It's very very loud. No monsters. Then he rips his shirt. Then the monster comes. Okay.
I mean, there's also the fact that the cat literally just rings a small bell and the monster just bursts into the wall.
Yeah, that's kind of the other thing too. It's like I think what they're going for is like whenever there is a natural sound, like a sound from nature, like water or fire or something like that, then the monster is not going to attack in that areas. So they kind of use this a few times, like where the characters are sitting under a water fountain or it's like raining. Then like the monsters can't really hear anything, or like they're sitting next to a fire. Um, but then like I don't know, it's like that
Uh,
makes it really difficult to know how much is enough, how much is too much, how much is too
um,
little.
I
So yeah.
mean, here's an example, literally back to back. So okay, I've got it's like I'm just gonna because I would just gonna talk about this generally.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with it really. Having terminal cancer could make a person pessimistic like that.
Yeah, I mean, I get the point, but it's like I just don't think it's well realized. But it's like
Yeah, I think like yeah, that part is kind of fine, but like when her whole shtick is like I want pizza, and then like, even during the apocalypse, it's I still want Patsy's. It's kind of like okay,
yeah, and I
but
didn't
yeah,
mention the fact she literally let two people died. Literally, she walks away from the crowd, but she just tells the man with his kid just like yeah, just go into the crowd. It's like oh, you literally just sent them to
I don't even
die.
know what you could do there. That's the thing.
Yeah, it was like literally just bring them home. It was like, but no, she just brings them to the crowd and she just walks to the opposite position. It was like, okay, you literally just makes her even worse.
I I don't agree with that because like they were doing a mass evac at that point.
Math, to be honest. This is the problem with
But that's my thing.
that's the
I
thing is like
the mass evacuation is like the weirdest part. That's like right before Joseph is introduced, which basically like they um so a helicopter comes over the air and then says like all citizens uh evacuate to the boats, something like that. And the problem with that is like they show us later that rain uh rain time is like better to walk around and to have conversations or anything like that because like I feel like when you do a mass evac you should probably just wait for it to rain then at that point. I mean maybe they
yeah,
didn't figure that out 4 days later, but I mean somebody figured it out. I mean
uh,
Sam, she knew to tell Joseph that when it's raining, it's okay to talk, or at least like when it's raining on and it's hitting like metal. I guess maybe that specific thing,
uh, yeah,
or the ending where it appears instantly after the unplugging. Yeah,
uh, yeah, it's yeah, that's just several examples how stupid the sound is. But it's like okay, so to be honest, we should just go to chronological order now.
I feel like, but I feel like nothing really happens either.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of because I do have something before I want to talk about. It's like,
Okay,
yeah, it's like, do you know that when the meteor starts, like, there's a lot of glass literally just flying into Lupita. I was
yeah,
like, you should be dead, but at that point,
yeah. She
and
gets caught in an explosion, knocks her head into like a car that's on the other side.
was like, wow, you should be dead as well. I was like, wow, and so her nurse just found her and she also found her cat for some reason. It was like the cat should be I really hate the cat. It's like because the cat literally makes no sound the entire movie. It was like, wait, dude, that's not how cat works. When a cat sees a monster, when they're afraid, it's like they're just meow meow meow.
It's a good cat,
Yay. Hey.
Frodo.
Uh, yep. Uh so yeah, so that's how they met the character from the second movie.
Yeah, Digimon's character,
Yeah, he actually got named in this movie. He's called
Henry.
yep, Henry. Literally, in the second movie, he's called Man on the Island.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious how this movie ended. Like, there's another character that gets involved, which we'll get to.
Yeah,
But yeah, that was like the first 40 minutes were definitely really rough. It's like I don't really have too much to say about like the stuff before the invasion.
yeah.
We kind of went
It
through
just
that.
it's just not much to say. Just I mean, all it just say just Lupita is a dick, which is like fair. I mean, but it's like, dude, I don't want to spend 20 minutes, 15 minutes to just see. Oh, that's all you get.
Yeah, I also feel like because the other disadvantage is like the characters have to be quiet for the rest of the movie, so it's a lot of physical acting for the most part, and yeah, everybody does a good job with that. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's just like I guess my disappointment is like it's day one. You feel like there's like so many things you could do with the city. Like, I know like we know what a city is like. We know how loud a city can get and all that stuff. But I feel like with the whole with this premise, like you have the chance to show what happened in day one. It's just kind of weird that you kind of lambast it so that like all the characters know that they need to be quiet and then they'll be fine for the
No,
most part.
and it's like, and here's the thing: how do they know that to be quiet? Literally, the military just like, hey, everyone, be quiet. I was like, wait, how do you know that? It's a city area. How do you know that the monsters has can only detect sound and they can't see shit? So be quiet.
World's quietest cat doesn't meow, hiss, or shriek even once.
Yeah, I fucking hate the cat. Yeah, it's like,
Maybe it's got his voice box taken out.
maybe. It's like, but actually, the cat did meow like at the end of the movie, so it's like I can't even use that excuse.
Yeah.
Mm, yeah. So yeah,
Um.
yeah.
Yeah.
The military just in the helicopter, just like, shut the fuck up. Oh, that's that's not how it works. But I mean, I don't know how you know that, but thank you. Uh,
Yeah. Um. Cause like, Sam is the character that just doesn't scream when she's scared, which is again not impossible. But then I guess it's like you need to see a lot of examples of people yelling and getting hit, and then people who are not yelling are being somewhat fine in order to come to this conclusion that yeah, you need to be quiet and then you'll be fine, or to know that they're blind or anything like that.
uh,
Yeah, it's really hard to do that. That's the disappointing part because like it's not they figure it out like within this day one to day four, whatever it is. Uh, how we don't know. It just kind of skips past that, so it's not really. That's kind of the disappointing part. Um,
it's it's not just disappointing. I'll literally argue that the marketing is literally lying to you, so it's just manipulative. No, seriously, we watched two trailers, and two trailers are about Lupita and Joseph Quinn escaping the city in when it's crowded.
yeah, but that's like 2/3 of the movie. After 2/3 of the movie.
I mean, at the beginning, I mean, at day one, not after a month.
Well, it's not even a month. It's 4 days.
Fuck that. I was like, seriously,
And yeah,
you deploy military in 4 days?
and if they were able to figure out that quickly that the aliens are located by sound, you'd think they'd be able to find out their weakness.
Yeah, I mean, and to be honest, the military literally bomb the bridges. So all they need to do is lure the aliens to an area and just bomb them.
Yeah, then we learn later that they can't swim. They can't go into the water or anything like that. So maybe being on an island is the best thing. Which I guess I didn't watch the second film, by the way.
Hmm. Oh, so
Does the island like play a factor?
yeah, fuck. So yeah, it just so this implied this movie leads to the Jamal's character to
Henry.
Henry. It's like going to island and rebuild civilization, which is like, no, I felt to even if that's the case, it's in the background basically, and it's like because we know that people use radio in the second movie to communicate. So It makes the army's
Mhm.
decision even more baffling. Just like, oh, just use the radio instead of hey, come, let's use helicopters. So just announce it. Which, if you do that, a bunch of aliens are just gonna appear in the middle of the city and attack anyone who's on the street. Remember, this is a city with a lot of people, and they need supplies.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I can really say about that, because we don't get to see anybody on the streets in these shots whenever because every time we hear the helicopter, like we're in Sam's point of view where she's like safe inside. Um, the only thing I can really say is like with how many times like Joseph's character and Eric and Sam go out in the street and there's barely anybody out there. Um, it's like it's not impossible to suggest that like a lot of characters are like a lot of the people in the city are staying behind. But then we see the mass evac and we see there's still a lot of people in the city at this point.
I mean,
But then it's like, when you're doing a mass evac, everybody's walking um even though everybody's quiet, walking with thousands of steps happening at a time, that's going to generate a good amount of sound, which that's
yeah,
when the attack happens.
yeah. To be honest, that's I literally when I saw that moment in the trailer, I was like, oh, that has to be in day one. So it was like, oh, so a lot of people are walking and they're going, trying to escape the aliens, so they're running. Oh, it's like no, it's just some army
This
just
is day
being.
this is day 3.
Yeah, it was like it's just some people in the helicopter is being so stupid. Just like yeah, go to the boat. I did not specify which boats, but just go to the beach, and
And that's
everyone is
kind
like,
of the thing too. It's like you could you don't have to say everybody go. You could like maybe say like if you're in this city, you guys get started while the rest of you wait until they're gone and then you ask the next group to go. Something like that. At least like control your numbers cuz like the more people you have or if you try to get everybody to walk out, then it's just going to be very loud regardless of if they're not going to talk. But you're asking thousands of people to walk along and you know not make noise while they're walking. That's just not really efficient. I just feel like the more efficient thing to do is like make the numbers smaller and go in groups, and then however many you can take out at a time until you get to the next group until everybody's out. That's a little bit more. It's not efficient, but like that's at least like better than asking everybody to leave, in my opinion.
oh yeah, it's absolutely better than this. It's like how did
Like it's easier to control 10 people than a thousand people. So
yeah, yeah, it's like also they just I mean they only use the radio in like one scene in this movie, and they just stopped doing this. I guess it's not cool enough. Uh,
yeah, yeah.
uh,
This is another thing that I guess this was like an interesting concept is like where after the bombing happens on the Manhattan Bridge. Um, so 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 they so it's like revealed that like that bombing the bridges so that makes it harder for the creatures to go outside of the Manhattan
uh,
the island. So makes
uh,
I get the idea. So they can't swim. I just wonder how did you know they can't swim?
I mean
We
if
we see that at the end of the movie.
I mean we know that in the second movie.
Yeah, but this is a prequel, so they wouldn't know any of that.
Yeah, I mean I know that, but it's like even that was like, oh yeah, how do you know that? And if you know that, why don't you just lure the monsters into the water? Literally, just drop bombs in the ocean, and they would just run into the ocean, or just like or just control some drones and just like emit some sound in the middle of the ocean, and they just come along and just jump into the ocean. Literally, that's all you need to do.
The problem is like when they're running after Joseph at the end of the movie, they stop at the end of the bridge.
Was like
Because like
was like
he's still talking. The people on the boat are talking like normally at this point, yelling at Joseph. So they can. they can tell that they're near a body of water and they can't go in or they can't go
which is like
towards it. But it's like I don't know.
that's not how it works in the second movie. Sorry.
Yeah,
Literally, the monster literally jumps into water. Fox like, oh, okay.
yeah. I mean,
Literally,
you see this a few times in this movie where the aliens are doing their best to avoid going into water. Like when they're in the subway, Joseph and Lupita, they're in the water of the subway that's flooded, but the aliens are climbing on the roof of the subway. So it's like
uh,
you can see that they're trying very hard not to go into water, which is like is water a weakness? But it's like I don't remember that being a weakness, and if it is, then like
yeah. I
God, it
mean,
sucks to be in the rain then.
yeah. It's really shit. To be honest, when they introduced in the second movie, I was like, okay, that's really stupid. How do you survive in space if you get drowned in water? It's technically not this film's fault that they're weak to water, but in the second film, they literally established when someone's on the boat, they would jump in water try to catch the people,
Yeah, okay,
which
then
is
that's a bigger problem.
it's like, oh, so the army literally can just fly some drones and make some sounds, and everyone's just and they're going to and the aliens are just gonna jump into water.
'Cause, yeah, I mean, like if they can't go into water, there's still like you could still have tension that exists because there's still people inside the city that you need to get out so that they can go into islands or go onto boats and onto islands so that but like you can't evacuate everybody, so there's still going to be some tension somewhere. But then we see it's pretty easy. It's fairly easy
Yeah,
actually.
uh, it is. It is. They just do something like this all the time. Uh, yeah, there's a lot of law contradictions in this first, second movie. Uh, Here's the thing, because I saw this first movie and then I saw a second and then saw the prequel, and I feel like I learned as much as the first movie after watching all three of them. They just didn't give me anything to get hold of.
Yeah, it's like that's kind of the I can understand this being like a difficult thing with apocalypse movies, like in general. It's like you kind of want to just get to a point where the world is in an apocalypse. What do we do now? And I find that interesting. That at least like it gets kind of difficult to explain how this apocalypse happened or anything like that. I think mainly because like when you go to explain the apocalypse or how we got to this point, it's kind of difficult to justify everything at that point. Um, I don't know, but I guess like that's what they were going for. And then you have two movies, and then you have a prequel that comes out to quote unquote explain everything, but it doesn't really explain anything. It's just kind of like it's kind of like an anthology in a way. Like it's just another day, another random day with new people to look at for the movie, which is honestly I think that makes sense. Like A Quiet Place just seems like a franchise. I think any apocalyptic story in general is kind of like it makes sense to have like a different protagonist or like a different perspective in this apocalyptic world. But there's only so much you could do with that premise because otherwise, then the stories kind of get repetitive.
I mean, it's like here's the thing: they could do this. I mean, they could just have it at day one, and they're just like, oh fuck it, they'll escape it in one day. But nah, they just basically made it in the first. They didn't do that. And all they try to do is just like, oh, she got chased by a set, she got chased by monsters because they accidentally hit some bugs. Like I'm serious, they literally just got chased by aliens because got hit by some they knocked off some bugs and they got chased under a sewer.
Yeah.
That's it's like okay, so here in the middle of the movie, right before evacuation, they met Henry and he appears like two scenes.
Yeah, that was one of the interesting parts that I forgot to mention. Like when after they bomb the bridges, there's this one guy who's like he he's like freaking out. He wants to yell as badly as he can. Henry's like trying to get him to shut up.
And
Um, and then it gets to a point where Henry had to kill the guy because he
which
just wouldn't because he wouldn't stop freaking out, and I thought that was kind of interesting. But then he's gone for the rest of the movie
until the ending,
until the ending. Yeah.
which is like yeah, and then afterwards, it's like the entire everyone on the building just disappeared. Literally, they all live inside this building, and after that scene, the only people who are left in this building is Lupita and the nurse.
Hmm.
And
That
like
was the other thing too. It's like I kind of that's why I felt like I was missing a scene or something because yeah, after Henry kills the guy, it's just those two now. Don't know what happened.
yeah, I mean, if you're wondering how is Henry like in the second movie, he's just some leader on the island who play some songs and just tell people to go to the island because he thinks a song will lead them to an island. He just loop it on the radio.
Hmm.
Do you see any problems with that? He also has a recording studio, by the way.
Hmm.
I mean, he could just record a message just like, "Hey, I have a safe place. It's on this island in this area. This is the location. This is and you could just here's them, and I'll just tell you how to go here. It's on the west side of this ocean, something like this. But now he just like, yeah, let's play some songs, and hopefully some people just will just figure out how to go to the island.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you're gonna do a distress call, you might as well just say like the reason why I come to this island is because the water surrounding the area makes it difficult, make it impossible for the aliens to attack. Seems pretty straightforward and a good reason to explain.
Yeah, it's uh
It had to be a secret song code in case the aliens understood English, I guess.
yeah. So it's so yeah, that's the thing. And by the way, if you're wondering, Henry died in the second movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
And
he's just
honestly, like, I mean, they went out of their way to bring Henry into this movie. I was just wondering, like, are they going to bring John? They didn't do that though, which is
I
fine.
mean, yeah,
I they live somewhere else though. They don't live in New York, I think.
yeah. It's weird because in the second movie they heavily implied they live on the island, not in the city.
Hmm.
It's like, so I mean, you're literally just feeling. It's just if you the more you know about the other movies, it's the worse it gets. Uh, I mean, so Henry disappeared, and because he's on the boat, I was like, wait. So why didn't Henry just tell everyone, okay, we are gonna go to the boat together.
The thing is, like, so this is where like Sam kind of like ventures off on her own because like she wants to go back home.
Uh,
No, it's like
yeah,
I kind of I get why, since like she's dying of cancer, she doesn't really see the value of going in a boat to save herself or save like her life just to die eventually. Um, I mean, I guess it's a little convenient because like that's when she meets Joseph's character at that
because
point.
and that's because her cat literally just because her cat just ventures off, and Joseph just sees her cat and follows the cat to Lupita.
Yeah,
Was like,
this
oh
super smell, I guess.
yeah, it's mighty convenient. It's it's like yeah, just smell and yeah, just the cat is just a plot device. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, yeah. We also talked about how the backup generator was like loud, but the nurse like ripping his shirt is what got him killed by the alien.
I mean, if the backup generator is so loud, I was like, dude, the nurse doesn't don't For one, the alien should already appear to attack the generator, and two, the nurse and Lupita shouldn't even try to get to the generator.
And it's like it's a it seems like it's a natural sound as well. I mean, like you see that whenever you break a car to make the alarms go off, the car alarm it will attack the car. So it seems like a similar thing you could do here. It's like if it attacks, if it's like if the generator's up, let the generator go, because then the aliens will at least attack that, and you can run off. But like you going to try and stop the generator is like the thing that makes it quiet again. So that when your shirt rips at the point, then yeah, you're in the location where the monster was already there, and that's how you get killed, and that's why you got killed. So stupid.
Yeah, it's that's how they try to frame it. And of course, should I mean the scene just happens back to that back. So Henry kills a guy, and the nurse died. Yes, random shit happened. Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
it's they're literally rushing a lot, and so Lupita literally just go to a fountain and meet two person and just like here's chocolate,
yeah,
mass evacuations.
yeah. We talked about the mass evacuation at that point.
Yeah, do you remember like one moment? There's a guy who trying to pull Lupita under the car. I was like, wait, why are you trying to do that?
So like, help me, help me, help me, and
What is
gets
she gotta help
dragged,
you with? Fuck.
dragged. Yeah, it's just classic. Give it to the main character.
And that's what,
Um,
and you have to remember the main character is terminally ill, and she's able to. She's somehow stronger than the guy trying to pull her away. It's like here's the thing for the that's a problem for the entire movie. Lupita is actually it has cancer or it's like some terminally ill has terminal illness, and it doesn't really seem like it until they just have some scenes that she needs medication.
yeah, I mean, I will say like it doesn't really like her lack of screaming is like that. That's kind of fine. Some people are just really good and not like yelling even if they're scared. I could see that, but like I think it's more. I think what Unity is saying more is like her physicality doesn't really seem like somebody with cancer. Like it slows her down, or like it's like it doesn't really like she swims very well. All this stuff. You don't really see that until afterwards when they get into the church. Um, but that's after she meets Joseph's character. But yeah, it's
Yeah,
I will say I'm glad that they didn't. I'm glad that they didn't force her to be deaf. I mean, I didn't think they were gonna do that anyway because like they got Millicent in the first movie, an actual deaf actress, to play one of the daughters for John Krasinski. So it's like I wouldn't expect them to make Lupita deaf for that. Um, but it's I'm just saying like I'm glad the protagonist isn't deaf mainly because like then that would make it very more convenient as to oh so she can't even hear the monsters, so there's no reason for
yeah,
her to talk or to do any of that. So it's like it made at least like that made things a little bit uh, at least my expectations of that wasn't too bad on that, so I'll give it that.
but that's bare minimums. Just uh, it's like yeah, it's like the first 40 minutes. There's a lot of stupid things. There's just not a lot of substance. But it's like and then Joseph Quinn got introduced.
Yeah.
He's supposed
And
to
when he came in is like because you didn't see him for 40 minutes, so it's like okay, so
fine.
how and then so the cat just kind of wanders off, and
Yeah.
then it's looking into a subway, a flooded subway, and then Joseph just comes out of the water, and that's
Oh.
his introduction. That was like, oh, that's how you introduce him.
Oh.
The cat just
Okay.
walks off and goes finds a random subway in New York, and out comes Joseph Quinn. That's kind of like a
Yeah.
reality TV show.
Hey. 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 Surprise! It's the guy from Stranger Things. Clap.
Yeah. He's got his
uh,
British accent in this, so
yeah.
I
I
know that
mean,
shocked a lot of people.
yeah. I mean, it's like this right after she just like, yeah, let's. I'm just gonna send two people in the mass evacuation. Yeah, yeah. Why would you do that? But you're just really stupid for doing that. It's and so she said, leave me, okay? And he was like, no, I don't want to die. Can I go with you? It's like, yeah, I was like, okay, that's actually that's already a better character than Lupita, because he just wants to survive, and he doesn't want to take shit from her.
I don't. Well, I didn't really see it that way.
I mean,
He's
dude, I
just
mean,
clearly scared to be alone. I don't think
yeah,
that's like. I don't think Lupita's like saying bullshit.
it's weird because literally all she said is, "Oh, fuck off." Before Joseph Quinn was like, "Can I come with you?" Which is it's so weird. In the previous scene, she literally tries to help two people. I mean, poorly, but now
Uh,
he's like,
no, I'm saying like with Lupita, it's more like um, she's not saying like go away from me or anything like that. It's more like if you want like they're doing a mass evacuation on the boats. It's on the south side and giving that direction. She's just going her own direction into Harlem. So that's kind of the suggestion, but like that's kind of like I don't think it's like a fuck you. I just think it's like she's just gonna go do her own thing. Like if you wanna go and survive, it's the other way, and all that stuff. So I don't really think it's like I don't think it was mean spirited. That's what I was saying.
but it's like the context is she just witnessed a lot of people just died.
I mean everybody did.
Yeah, so it's like I just think that you shouldn't just like, oh yeah, it's that way. I know a lot of people died, so I was like, yeah, yeah, let's. I was like, oh, that was kind of rude, but yeah, sure. I mean, you just expect her to have a bit of empathy.
I think that I mean the thing is like um I don't know. I didn't expect us to have so much of a disagreement on Lupita. I just felt like because like she has cancer, like she doesn't really have like a purpose as to saving herself or anything like that. So she's kind of just going about her day, and all that. So Joseph,
Yeah,
who was like a healthy person, it's like you should go out and survive and go do your thing
yeah. I
and all this
mean,
stuff. So I feel like that makes sense.
I mean, my thing is that she just witnessed a bunch of people died for doing that. So it was like, so I think you should keep that. You should also have that in mind before you just like, yeah, 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 go.
I mean, I just think it's simple directions. I don't think anything is mean spirited here.
Hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Eric does join Sam. Um, so we talked about some of the things that they do. Whatever has like the whatever leads them into the whole the aliens come because knocks a book off the rack. They run across. You see this some of the stuff. You have some of the scenes are in the trailers as well, like
I mean,
throwing bricks into the cars for the.
which is yeah, which is a smart move.
hmm And they
Yeah,
go into the building, but then
a
the
briefcase.
briefcase
Jeez.
lid is what fell. Yeah.
Yeah, that just so happens to be have a briefcase there. Which is like, wait, okay, that's contrived. And I was like, oh, and instead of just running to the other side of the door, he literally or just flip the door for the other side. He literally tried to push the briefcase away.
It was one of those rotating, the uh, spinning doors. I feel like,
Yeah,
if I
I mean,
remember correctly, I feel like those things resist if you push in the other direction.
yeah, I
But I'm not,
mean,
I'm not sure.
I mean, and here's the thing: there should be a door next to the spinning door because there are. I mean, I don't know have you seen that in real life? Because whenever there's a spinning door, there's a door next to the spinning door.
Yeah, in case you
Because
don't want to use the spinning door.
yeah, because some people has wheelchairs, some people are elderly,
Some people
some
they have motion sickness.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, just use that door instead of use the spinning door.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
but
It just it's just kind of more action set piece so that they can go into the subway, the flooded subway,
and yeah,
and
and
then swim all the way to a church.
I just really hate this. I mean, apparently this briefcase inside the got hit inside the building, alerted a bunch of monsters. I was like, yeah, you sure about this? I was like, I don't believe this is not really that much sound, and all the monsters literally just drop down from the building.
Yeah, I mean, we just saw that a generator didn't matter, but like ripping a shirt did. So I'm not really surprised at this point.
Yeah, the sounds literally just went whatever the creators wanted to be. You're just like, yeah, this is how loud they can hear. Do it here. Fuck you.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: the monster doesn't even like run them. They literally just drop down to every exit.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that's not how it works. They should be following them instead of just blocking the exits.
But even that, it's like a lot of these monsters just like teleport in. Um, I mean, which is I guess, but like it's kind of weird because the monsters they kind of like go in hordes, but they just like they all like drop in from the sky down. At that point, it's like how it's just it's always convenient whenever they come in. But yeah, they mhm.
Yeah, just it's yeah, because all they want to do is just like, yeah, I want a tunnel sequence. I mean, I'm not sure does a building connect to a subway. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's New York. Got a few of those. Um, but yeah, they this is like one of their learned experience, like when they're running away from the creature in the subway. It does drown. I don't know if you caught that.
Oh yeah, I caught that. What I mean, I it's like I because like they're literally panicking. They're just like, yeah, let's swim as loud as possible.
Yeah,
Okay, which is like I expect you just move as quiet as possible, but oh well.
but yeah, the monster that was chasing them, it does drown in the drown so that they can keep swimming on. And then that's
I
where they
mean,
get to
I
the
yeah, I
church.
mean, I can't expect him to just do the okay. Let's just take a deep breath and just stay underwater until the monsters just leave. But now they just like, yeah, let's just make as much sound as possible and just swim out. Oh, fuck, that wasn't clever.
It just happened to work.
Ugh.
So yeah, monsters that can't swim.
It is dumb.
I think it's like I feel like it could be fine. I just think like the issue mainly with it is like now it's like it does make sense to just find a facility or find like a location or find like an area where you can be safe, like be on an island, which the second movie does, as it sounds. Or it's like go somewhere where it's like surrounded by a body of water because they can't swim. That should be everywhere. Um, so yeah, that's just kind of like that kind of makes it more difficult to. And that's the other problem too. It's like I could see that being a possibility of them figuring that out over 400 days. They figured this out in day 4, and that's where I kind of have a problem with. And then it's like, okay, if people in day 4 knew that you need to go off into an island to be safe, because the monsters drown, then the why was the family in the first movie on a farm? Oh, I didn't say it right. On a farm?
Where do you have? I mean, they didn't train there, so. I mean, apparently a farm is better than living in an island. Maybe. Oh, fucking no.
Or I mean, I guess it could be better than a city. Cities are loud, but like, I mean, this is 400 days later. I don't think it matters anymore.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, it's by the way, it's like remember in the first movie they established like waterfall can cover sounds.
yeah,
Uh,
rain could do that
uh,
too.
yeah, it's like so. Yeah, like none of the movies takes advantage of this.
Uh, rain, water. I mean, fire even. They were next to a fire, like a gas fire, coming out of a sewer hole.
Yeah,
Uh, that was like later. Right before then, there's another tension
uh,
scene, I guess.
yeah.
Like,
Because
so
so because
Sam
look, yes,
Sam
look,
has gotten unconscious due to her cancer. So
yeah.
Eric has
I
to go out
mean,
to get the pain medication from a pharmacy.
to be honest, I mean that's something I expect them expect. I don't know. It's like I mean I'm kind of iffy about this because I kind of expect those every cancer patient should have those on their body just in case. I mean, take a few of them just in case something happened. But
Yeah,
apparently she
she
just
did
doesn't
have
have
some.
any.
She had a supply bag, but it was mainly food. Um, I think it's okay for the most part. I mean, um, based on the location and how things have been going for the last 4 days, I could see that possibility occurring.
Yeah,
I think my main. It is like the thing where uh, Eric has to be brave and go out to find the medical thing, um, like
yeah.
on his own, which is kind of like that thing. But they don't really highlight that. Really, he just kind of goes off to do
Mm,
it.
I mean,
If they had
it's
more emphasis on like I need to be brave, I think that would have improved it a little bit more.
yeah. They just can't. It just kind of happened. It's like, and so he walks out, and we see literally tanks get destroyed, and there's sandbags. I was like, holy shit! You can't. How do you have tanks and sandbags like right in here for in like a day, a few days. You don't have.
Yeah,
It's like
that's the problem. Like it does not feel like 4 days. Um,
when I watched it, I was like, is there a month pass already?
no, it's like I mean, even on day one, like when the aliens first dropped and they were on and Lupita's on the bus, there's like a woman with like a giant machine gun in her hands. It was like the military's in the city that
W-
second. So I don't even know how that happened.
Yeah, neither do I. I guess the military are just like, hey, I'm gonna tour around the city on this day with tanks and sandbags and machine guns. Let's tour around here.
And
Let's
honestly, like that's also the kind of the weird part too. It's like you had the military there on day one, and none of them like ever I don't know try to shoot the monsters before their death. I mean, I know that's kind of counterintuitive, but I feel like if you're gonna have a bunch of military people here anyway with guns in their hands, you might as well let them shoot at the monsters that not work and then they die, rather than just like, hey, can you go away, ma'am? This isn't a safe place, and that's how she dies.
yeah.
And then yeah, that was just kind of a weird direction, I'd say. Especially if you're going to have the military there on the day of this occurring, that makes no sense.
Mm, and speaking of, I'm just gonna say this because in all three movies, the durability of the monsters are very inconsistent. Sometimes they can block a fucking bomb, and sometimes they got knocked out by falling. Like I'm not kidding. In the second movie, one monster just got tripped and he just got knocked unconscious for a few seconds. But like, apparently a bomb could just it just make but a bomb apparently they just is it's just unscathed to them.
Right.
Uh, I
Yeah.
remember all they have to do is to shoot the mouth. And
Yeah.
in the second movie, a kid swinging a baseball bat can kill a monster in a single hit.
Didn't they show that in the first one that it doesn't work like that?
Depends. It apparently all they have to do is just hit them. I mean, it's yeah, but just like, but the sound just exposed their weaknesses, which is just the mouth. And all they have to do is just hit the mouth with a bat. A kid can just kill a monster by hitting the mouth with a baseball bat once.
Hmm. That's the
What?
thing. I feel like with like A Quiet Place, I think like it's the fan base that it has is like carried heavily by its premise. Because I find this idea interesting, but it's the execution that's really the problem. Um, but yeah, that's kind of the problem with the other aliens as well. Um, but yeah, so it, so we kind of go into the whole. Yeah, Eric is off to find the medications. Frodo just comes up, uh, and then they're like surrounded by aliens that are feasting on something, and
Uh,
it's
it's
your classic tension scene. The monster is like looking around for somebody is above them, but they can't find him, and
yeah.
just in case. And then just when the coast is clear, that's when he leaves.
Oh, and here's the thing. Here's the thing. Do you know why did Joseph Quinn little need to go to that place?
To get medicine.
Okay, he just have to get medicine, but why does he need to go to construction site? There's a
Oh,
reason.
oh, it was a cool set piece.
Yeah, and because Lupita's cat is just there, just follows
Yeah,
him.
yeah. Okay, yeah, yeah. Because the cat is just kind of like the cat is like leading the way, but like, and then Eric is following the cat, and then the cat just goes further and further into a construction site when it could have
And
just.
just climbs up the I beam for some reason. I mean, I don't know how this even climb up the construction site.
Yeah, that cat has no fear.
Yeah. And hey, uh, oh shit, and I'm gonna because I have some more context in the last of the second movie, but I'm gonna talk about it at the last and at the ending, but it's gonna be critical.
Yeah. So essentially, I've seen this scene like circulate a lot because like Joseph Quinn is going to play Human Torch, so of course like everybody wants to show that one scene that proves that he'll be a great Human Torch, and I guess I just wanted to comment on that. Yeah, he'll be a good Human Torch. Um, I don't think this scene is proof. He's just a good actor. So uh,
Yeah,
I'm just kind of tired of people using, oh, this guy's a really good actor. That proves he could be Human Torch. There's a lot of great actors who could be Human Torch. He's
I
just a
mean,
good one. So yeah,
yeah,
go ahead.
uh, yeah, it's just I mean, I can be Human Torch because I'm a good actor.
Oh man. Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. He was really good in this movie. I don't think his character is amazing, but I think he's definitely the best character in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's not
But it's not.
competition.
It's two people to compare, really.
Hmm. Yeah.
But yeah. Honestly, like this part afterwards is like kind of like where I felt a little bit more better about the movie because like you know Eric and Sam start to bond more after gives the medicine and all that stuff. He decides to take her to a like a jazz club because like Sam said that when she was a child, like her father who passed away used to love to play jazz at that club. So he took her
Oh,
there.
and by the way,
He
the club is just was just near the church.
Yeah, they said they were in Harlem. So this is like, uh, so she like knows the area.
But they didn't go to Harlem. They go to Harlem by accident because they got into the subway and by escaping the monsters, and they just kind of just randomly got into the subway that has water, and they just randomly got to the church.
Honestly, like with going around New York, it's like you kind of get to a you get to a place where like you kind of know where everything is at that point. It's not it's not super crazy, but like I get what you're saying. But yeah, yeah, they go to the club and
And she said,
Joseph kind of goes off to get a get a pizza, which he would
by the way,
label label it as
before
Patsy.
remember before this scene,
They
Lupita just cried because the pizza place is destroyed.
yeah.
I was like, oh, I'm sorry that you can't have pizza anymore. Thank you, because because that's your motivation of the entire movie. I want pizza. I can't get pizza.
Yeah, Patsy's New York pizza is really good, by the way,
Mm.
if anybody's out there in New York. Um, but yeah, so that's that. Like they go to Patsy's first, then it's like yeah, then they realize it's not there anymore. That's where you see the fire in the thing. So like that's where they can talk and not get attacked. Um, but yeah, they go to the jazz club. Uh, Eric finds a another pizza that he labels Patsy's on the top of the box, and then you know, so I think you have to. I think you kind of have to factor in like she is dying as well. So it's like I could see that as like if you want your last meal or something like that, and I was like I want to eat like a Patsy slice before I die. It's like I understand that value. Um, so it's like I could see that from that angle. It is kind of it is a little strange, I guess, like in terms of characterization, but like it's not super crazy to me. I would say.
I mean, I just think they should redo more for Lupita's character. It's like it's weird. Because her entire movie is literally just motivated by I want pizza. I mean, they try to imply something at the end, which is like you should do more of that.
Yeah, I mean, because obviously, like at that point earlier, like you're you're going further away from the city, from the evacuation for a slice of pizza, and yeah, then later that's when he gets the context that she's dying of cancer. Um, so that's kind of like where Eric becomes a little bit more softer on that side, and then he's trying to help her out in that sense. So it's like I think it's like, I think it's like, I don't know if it's like if it would have benefited more if we were in the perspective of Joseph's character first, and then like you see maybe like Lupita's a little bit more bitter, and you don't know why until she reveals she has cancer. I don't know if that will fix it per se, but it's like I don't know. It's like it's kind of my thing. I didn't really have too much of an issue with how they were characterized. I just my biggest issue with the film was everything to do with the aliens, how they go about the stuff, how this is like day four. I didn't really have an issue with the two individuals. I would say.
I mean, I think Eric is a fine character. It's like, but Lupita is like, Lupita is like, okay, she's just works at best. She's just like, oh, she's there.
That's what I'm saying. Like this feels more like an anthology in the sense that like it just feels like this is the same world with new characters to focus on,
Okay,
and but like which is okay. I'm not. That's not really my criticism. It's more like when it's called A Quiet Place in day one, I thought you would do more focus on the
day
world
one.
on day one. and not so much on like. I mean, that's a little bit weird to say. Characterization is fine on day one. That's not what I'm saying. But like, I feel like when you have a day one, one of your priorities should be developing that world on day one. But then they have everything figured out by day three. So
Well, it's like, I mean, and how they figure it out is nonsensical. And if they do figure that out that soon, every alien should be defeated.
yeah, yeah. I mean, like, and then it's like go to day 400 in the first movie. Why are those characters there then? This should be out on an island already. But yeah, you know.
Yeah, I mean, by the way, I think I retract something because I checked the script for a second movie again. It's like, oh, so they do come from New York, but there's other retcons, but I'll get to there.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like so.
Um,
I kind of like the scene between the Lupita and Joseph Quinn. It's like, oh, just hanging in the bar. But I mean, I think they should just when they perform magic, they should just keep it more quiet because they do the hand slapping magic,
right, right,
which is like, okay, you shouldn't do that magic. But to be fair, I think the script literally just only said they do a magic trick.
right. Yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think like the last like 10 minutes ish, it was like I felt like pretty fine with it. Especially like the two characters bonding. Um, they eventually go out to see the boat in the river with
And the
the
boat is,
survivors.
which is like, oh, the boat is just right there.
Yeah,
Was like, oh, okay, that's contrived, but it's there, I guess.
I it is the Manhattan Bay, so it's not
Uh,
that's not something you can't notice.
but it's like, but they're in walking distance. I mean, they can just run there quite easily. So it was like, oh, that's 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 a coincidence, but oh well. So
Yeah, but
they just yeah, they just run to the Harlem base. They just run to the
well,
boat.
before that, this is like where uh Sam. Well, so they notice that the aliens are listening out for the boat in the water. Um, so
Uh,
this is like where Sam needs to like essentially bring the aliens away from the boat, so that Joseph and the cat can be safe. The people on the boat can be safe. So this is where they leave,
oh,
um, and all that.
uh, uh, so this is not what happened in A Quiet Place Part Two, from Henry's description.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, so Henry said, um, we got here the same. That okay. Okay. This is a bit sooner.
What's
Okay,
what's
we got here the same way as you. We were in this city, so New York.
hmm
When we heard the hurricane sirens, I mean that's I mean we don't have a hurricane sirens in this movie, by the way.
They're on the
That's
helicopters.
I don't even know how to stop. Well, I don't even know because like I guess you can say
You
seven.
do hear sirens when the helicopters are giving the distress warning.
Yeah. So, but the implication
Continue.
is like yeah. So the implication is they arrived before the city, but whatever. Once
No, no,
they
no.
know,
Finish the
yeah.
paragraph.
Once they knew they couldn't swim, the National Guards were told to start loading people onto the boats. Any boats they could find. So as soon as people saw the first one got out safe, everyone just started pushing forward. That's when they started screaming. They had 12 boats lined up on the dock that day. Only two got out. Oh,
I guess you kind of see that with like the city mass evacuation, which I was saying like earlier. Like the smarter thing to do is just if you know this thing works, like where you go on the boat and the aliens just cannot swim, then it's like okay, so that works. So we can evacuate with our 12 other boats. Maybe let's just go one at a time, make things easier, and then more. It's not efficient, but like it's at least like safer to control 20 people maybe over 1,000 people at once. And then I don't know. You have 12 boats anyway. You might as well do it that way.
it's
Um,
but it's
but
weird because like oh fuck, we have 12 boats on the dock that day. I was like, I see one, but sure, let's go with that. It's like because like the docking date and the date that the Henry boat is a different day. I was like, did I miss something? It's like
no,
like
no. My bigger problem here is like they figured this out in day 4 because like this is the last day of the movie, so I'm assuming this is day 4. So they figured this out in day 4 that we need to bring people out, and then A Quiet Place Part 2 is like longer, like 100 times more days than that. Like well, like 404, like 400 plus days. So it's like, so they've been living comfortably for over a year on this island because they figured it out in New York City after day 4. I don't know. That just makes things a lot more difficult to believe when it comes to everything else that happened in part 1, and that's kind of my problem too. Like this feels like a response to part 2, and not so much like part 1 feels very detached from the story. I would say.
yeah, there's just
I don't know if it's because the family was living on a farm, so
it's
that could probably be why.
I mean, I don't even know because they just like oh the first boat got out and just everyone just started pushing forward. I was like I think it's because everyone just walks out the street and everyone just stupidly died instead of any boat even got out. And here's the thing: how did Henry got to the boat before Sam did?
They split up.
Why would they split up?
Sam decided to split up.
I just don't believe that Henry will will let Sam do that because based on his characterization in the second movie.
Yeah.
Because he
I mean,
just
unless he knew about her cancer, but we don't know about that if he knows that or anything, so I can't comment on that.
I mean to be fair the nurse is on the place so I just assume that he would know. But even that was he in the second movie. I mean as small as I mean he's not a character in the second movie, but so his Finn characterization is he will try to save everyone. Yeah, he's a leader. He was trying to save everyone. So it's like, oh, so he will naturally just bring Sam to the boat. So did he develop that off screen?
Yeah, I mean,
I mean,
again,
and
it's more. I mean, I still think like even if you give Sam an offering and she says no because like she's gonna die anyway with her cancer, so it's like I could see like I could see like just leaving it alone. And so you can't save everybody in that sense. Um, that's why like I don't really have an issue on that side. Or I don't think Henry is like a bad person for not including Sam in the discussion because I feel like Sam is like a unique case, not unique, but like like she doesn't really have a reason to survive um, due to her cancer. So I thought that was kind of fair.
yeah, I don't think that's it's kind of weird because like I just do not believe that he will allow that to happen. It's like yeah, everyone.
I mean, you
Yeah,
can't stop someone dying from cancer, right?
yeah, but I
I
don't
don't
know. I
think he's a
just
bad person for that, or I don't think
yeah.
that I don't think that hurts his character for not including Sam. And
I
then
mean, I
eventually
don't.
they get
I mean, they don't even
Joseph.
try to. I just don't think they even explained that. It was like, oh, he killed her. He killed the guy, and he just disappeared. So it's a lot of inferior. It's just like, oh, just infuriating. Just like, oh, fuck. I guess he just didn't tell her because she wants to die. I was like, can you just show that? I don't think
I mean, maybe, but I just don't think he's bad for that.
it's I just really do not like. It's like everyone's like, oh, maybe that happens. Like, fucks. I was like, dude, I'm not. I was like, no, I want to. If that's what happened, you have to show that.
All right. Um, but yeah, that's essentially it. Sam gives the
Yeah,
cat to Eric.
yeah. So
She's
it's just
she's running off, using. She's breaking all the car windows so the aliens could go after her. But while Joseph is running in the other direction, he makes a sound that gets all the aliens to go in that direction. Then Lupita stops making noise. You might as well
uh,
just keep going with that, but no, there's more tension, I guess.
to be honest, I was
This
to be
isn't
honest.
really like this
Yeah,
isn't really like a third act, or it doesn't feel like a third act.
it just doesn't. I literally look at the timestamp. It's like, oh, so that is just we only have like less than 15 minutes left. I wonder
Yeah,
what will happen. Uh,
yeah. He just runs, runs, and then he jumps into the water. Him and the cat are safe. The aliens
and
are not going to swim at all,
which is
or they're
like
not going to try to jump.
was like that's not what happened, but go on. That's not how it works in the second movie, but fuck it.
Yeah, that's essentially it. He gets
I mean,
the
yeah,
Eric gets pulled up into the boat
and it's so
by
and just
Henry.
yeah, and just like oh, Henry is in that boat. I'm happy that he's in that. He's just in that boat. I mean, I'm just really confused of what. I'm just really confused of the part two now because he just like oh there's 12 boats on that dock that day. I mean I only see one boat, but all right, and only two got out. How did he phrase his words? Like, oh, actually, there's technically 12 boat on the city stock that day, and only 12 go out, and it's 12 from opposite side of the dock that we didn't see, and it's on that day as well. So it's like it just escaped on the other side of the city. Like this is the thing I'm just kind of confused about. Like after I look at it, how she phrase it in the second movie in it how you phrase it, it sounds like there's 12 votes on this dock, and only and you know 10 of them got destroyed because they got run by monsters. Only two successfully got out. Like it's like imagining the Titanic scenario in Titanic. Everyone just got out. Everyone got a boat, found a boat, got out, and one of them collapsed because people are screaming. They're struggling to get into the boat. The escape scene in Titanic, which is like everyone just docks at the boat, and chaos happens. One of the boat got flipped. Other boat successfully, but some of them didn't. But in this movie, it's like because in the second movie, how he phrases it's just like this. Like there's 12 boats on the dock, and only two out of the 12 of them got out because there's a bunch of people there, and they're causing chaos. It just doesn't seem like in this movie.
So I guess the main thing with that is like I don't really know if everything happened on the same day.
It said
'Cause
that
this is 400 days later,
I
and
mean,
it's like probably two ships ended up making it to that island.
it's weird because he said they have 12 boats lined up on the dock that day. So it's like, so it is the same day. So they're describing this day one event, and he's like, oh, there's actually 12 boats on the dock that day. I was like, um, only two got out. I was like, that doesn't seem like it. It's like,
But we don't know if Henry is the second boat or if he was the first boat.
but it's like because like that's how he phrased it in the second movie. It sounds like there's a bunch of people just they there's chaos, so they just try to push towards the boat. Which, to be honest, that's what he said. So as soon as people saw the first one got out safely, everyone just started pushing forward. That's when they started screaming. So it was like, if Henry's the first boat, it's like, okay, how did no one would? Then where is everyone?
Like he could be the second boat, but like what I'm saying is like I think the problem here is like I don't know if we didn't get to see that scene because like Joseph and uh Sam were not a part of that. I was like I can't speak on that part obviously, but like it seems like Henry being on the second boat because only two boats got to go up because of the mass panic of the first boat working, so people are trying to go into the second boat and then all the aliens attack. Um, that's kind of the thing. I mean, obviously that's a cop out, but like I'm saying, like what that could be is that well, then you have to see all the corpses or all the stuff around.
Yeah,
But
you need corpses. Like
it's
if
I
the
think that
second,
would have probably fixed that a little bit.
it's like because it doesn't seem like everyone just try to push it. Just like so some Henry just quietly lead a group of people to just go to the second boat. It was like because there's like no evidence people even try to push to that boat.
Well, the boat's already in the water. I'm just saying, like, because we're in the focus of two characters that are not involved with this boat at all, it's entirely possible that whatever he's describing is still off screen, um, according to day one. Um, that is the only leeway I give. And that's kind of weird. It's like, wouldn't you want the character perspective to be Henry at that point? If you wanted to show that in a movie, I don't know. I found that kind of an interesting choice to have two new characters, but it's not. I mean, they didn't really take advantage of that in terms of a prequel.
It's it's like it just caused me to confuse because I do not like part two at all. It's like and that's what they give it. It's like and that's how it phrase it. It's like okay, I don't see that's how you phrase it in this movie. If I was Henry,
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can really say is that I think whatever Henry's describing is still off screen for even after this movie because we just see Henry on the boat and that's where he is. We don't see how he got on the boat. We don't see when he got on the boat. And I would assume that because Sam and Eric were not a part of that conversation earlier, they don't really have that context. And I think that's just like that's kind of like a missed opportunity, I'd say, because you do have Henry in this movie, but like Henry isn't really a central character or anything like that, which is fine. But then it's like at that point, why include him? Um, if you're not going to show something that he described. I don't know. I guess that's more like a structure thing in terms of the storytelling.
uh,
But yeah, that
uh,
kind of leads to the end of the movie.
so he just jump off the boat because Henry just like there's people there. You can see a bunch of monsters, and there's people on the boat as well. So stop the boat. Fuck, I guess the person on the I guess the National Guard just like, yeah, I will listen to this one guy in New York. I'm
Uh, I guess he was. I guess Eric was visible on the dock at that point. At least it wasn't like it's not like the Jurassic World in the second movie.
it's a lot of like, yeah, fuck it. It's like, yeah, sure. I guess the National Guard just like, yeah, I'm gonna save this one guy. We're risking everyone on the boat. I was like,
Well,
yeah,
it
sure.
turns out the monsters can't swim.
I was like, I seen the second movie. I mean, it's stupid as shit. It was like, yeah. It's like, but it also established the monsters is willing to jump into water to catch people on boats. You fucking, who you
But
screw that up?
this film also shows that they drown because they
Yeah,
can't swim.
but yeah, they know they drown, but they are willing to jump onto water just to catch people on boats. I'm not kidding. Like yeah, none of the monsters just like yeah, I'm gonna jump to water and just try to catch people.
But yeah, earlier Sam gave Eric her jacket to wear, and like in the pocket there was a note. Sam saying to take care of Frodo and thanking Eric for reminding her to live. And then she walks into a deserted street, listening to Nina Simone's recording of "Feeling Good." And then, accepting her fate, Sam smiles as she unplugs the earphones, lets the music blare, and the creature appears behind her, and then it cuts to black. And that's
Yeah,
how it ends.
she found purpose. Now she can die now. I mean that's I mean when this I was like, oh, so that's a movie, I guess.
Yep. Um, I
Uh,
don't really know what the reception is of this movie. I never really looked into it, but I didn't really hate the movie.
I didn't hear anything about the movie. What people think about it's like, oh, it's. I didn't hear anyone talk about it.
Yeah. When did this film come out again? It was only like 90-ish minutes, June 28th. So a few weeks ago.
So I was like,
I
yeah,
know it's
no
going
one.
on digital soon, but every movie is just going on digital very quickly nowadays.
Yeah. uh, yeah, this movie it's hollow.
Yeah,
It's a hollow movie. There's a lot. It makes the franchise worse because apparently they just figure out everything in like a few days.
yeah, that's kind of my biggest issue with the film. It's just like it really does not feel like I feel like that's just something that in terms of a day one, like, I feel like that's like something you the revelation to be quiet is the thing to solve it. It's like that's just something that you should kind of build up, but like that thing is kind of done off screen, and then it's like day three where they've already figured out to be quiet. Yeah, so that kind of makes things. That's the kind of the problem with the whole issue with the everything is done off screen. Now it's like it just feels like a regular, a quiet day. I'm in a quiet place kind of story. Um, so yeah, it's like you kind of take away the your premise to just do another A Quiet Place story.
Yeah. So it's
Um, I didn't really mind Sam and Eric. Um, we kind of had our own back and forth and throughout this episode about it, but it's like it is what it is.
it is
Um,
what it is. I mean, this movie earned. I mean, earn back the profits. I mean, but barely. I mean, it earns 3 times the budget so
mhm.
far. But it's like, yeah, it's still a far cry from the other movies.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Eh, Uh,
but yeah, I mean, you know,
I
I know a lot of people who are just watching this movie just to see if Joseph Quinn can act for their Fantastic Four movie. So
I don't care. It's like if
yeah,
that's you just watch Stranger Things, just watch Stranger Things season 4 again, and trust me, there's a much and in that season there is a much. I mean, they have similar monster designs, and the Mind Flayer is a much better villain than whatever the fuck these things are.
yeah. I mean, the scary factor is still here, so I'm not gonna act like it's not there. But at the same time, it's like there's a lot of things that prevents the inconsistency is really the issue. I'm not gonna say like the characters are not justified of being scared of these aliens and all that stuff. I think that's perfectly fine. Um, But yeah, I just feel like with the whole how they figure things out so quickly, it makes it like that is like that really diminishes your alien threats because like if they didn't have like a such a success rate in 3 days, how am I supposed to expect even more from 400 days later?
I mean, 400 days later, every monster should be dead. I mean, they
Well,
discover
I
all
guess
the
to be fair,
reasons.
they didn't really establish in this movie how they killed them yet, so I'll give it that. But they have figured out a way how to minimize everything so that you can protect yourself while still living in this planet and all that stuff, or how to live somewhere else so that aliens don't come after them on an island or something like that. So it's like if they figured those things out, that's still like huge, even if you don't know how to kill them yet. And
I
then they
mean,
learn how to kill them in later movies.
all you need to do is lure them into water, and you kill more. You kill all of them.
Maybe it does seem like they have sense enough where they can't jump into water.
That's
Mm,
retcon.
but
Fuck.
that's
That's
different
retcon.
conversation.
That's a retcon. It's not. It's not. That's not how it works in the second movie. And like like seriously in in the second movie, Killian Murphy is literally just swimming in water in the ocean, and the monster is so desperate, he literally tried to jump into the water, try to attack Killian Murphy. So that should have happened with Joseph Quinn.
Yeah, I mean, and then the other thing too is like, Lupita should have been smashing more cars anyway, but maybe she ran out of cars.
She doesn't even need a smash shot. Just throw a rock to a car. You know, just just throw a rock to a long distance, and you just attract a car from an even longer distance.
Hmm. But yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Um, it was okay. It's not terrible. It's just
it
like it's about what I expected.
it's a movies. I just like people characters make dumb decisions several times because they need a
Some of
plot
them
to
are
happen.
okay in terms of like I don't know if it's okay, quote unquote, but like I guess it's like some of them could be fine if it was treated more like a day 1 to 4 kind of thing, whereas like if they make a mistake and then they get killed because of that or anything like that, that would be okay. But like because they figured it out in day 3 of what to do, and the characters are pretty well adjusted, so when they do make a mistake, I don't really buy it anymore. So that's always the problem with these movies.
No, I mean the first trailer is like, oh, they didn't figure it out, so they don't have to be. So when they made a mistake, it's more justifiable. Now it's like, yeah, fuck you. No, that's not how it works.
Yeah, yeah. So any last thoughts?
Uh, so don't watch this movie. It wasted your time. You learn nothing new about this franchise. Alright, and also, by the way, we originally got to talk about Maxine if it when it's released on streaming, quote
Hmm.
unquote streaming.
Yeah.
Uh,
I thought the movie was okay. It's not. I kind of lost interest in this franchise the second they started implement. I mean, honestly, like there's plenty of reasons why to drop off on the franchise from just the first movie alone. But like it is. I've kind of accepted that this is a franchise that is heavily carried by its premise and the actors that they have, and that's about it. Um, and I mean, it's okay. It's not like the worst franchise we got out there nowadays. I mean, Alien. is going to return soon. I'm sure that'll be great.
I mean, I'm sure it won't waste my time again.
Yeah. But I find that it's a movie. Um, things happen, things end, and here we are. So yeah, that was A Quiet Place, not day one.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, that's I fucking hate this. I was like, I think they are gonna end this franchise in just one more movie. Thankfully.
Maybe.
Oh,
I mean, unless they lean into this anthology.
also, by the way, if you're wondering what happened to the people on the boat, they all got killed in part. They most of them got killed in part two. So fuck you for thinking they got out alive at the end. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so just a few channel updates. Due to our last episode getting cut off due to a copyright, we had to kind of shorten that episode. It's available now on another Reviews Corp podcast channel, which you can subscribe to. The links are in the description down below. And,
Mm.
we are going to start archiving these videos both on Unity's channel in his live tab, as well as another Reviews Core podcast. Subscribe to that. Subscribe to Unity Review and Analysis. Unity, what is
Yep.
your channel about?
It's about referring medias, which is like I'm just doing as little as possible now, so
Yeah,
don't expect much.
yeah. So if you wanna see these podcast episodes, you'll be able to find it on Unity's channel in his live tab. You can also watch his own videos. You can also subscribe to another Reviews Corp podcast where you'll be able to find these episodes archived. We also have started doing some shorts, or not shorts, but like shorter reviews so that we can make it a little bit more accessible. Our last episode was on The Acolyte episode 6. We have another one for Acolyte episode 7. It'll be out soon, so be on the lookout for that. You can also subscribe to my channel, another reviews. I mean, Red Devilos Reviews. I also do media analysis on movies, comics, TV shows, and video games. I recently did a video on Percy Jackson episode 1. Be sure to check that out. I am continuing to work on that. I also have some plans for some anniversary videos. I have some plans for other things. I have a Falcon video in the work as well. So, I'm on the road for 1K subs. So if you can help me out, I would greatly appreciate it. So yeah, subscribe to all these channels. Look at our Spotify for another Reviews Core podcast. All of these links are in the description down below. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.